to Kingdom's Cure by TespianMage. This short story won first place in MQE Community's Prop Sprint, an event where writers produce a story in 48 hours. Kingdom's Cure features the hunt for a dragon to save the life of the protagonist's queen. For more information about MQE, please stay until the end of the video, or look in the information box below. Her Majesty is dying. Those were the words the king dreaded to hear from the healer once she left the royal chamber. The knights that accompanied him looked to each other in worry, but their response paled in comparison to the king's devastation. He dropped to his knees beneath the weight of the news. It was impossible to look the healer in the eye while he struggled with all of his might to hold back the tears.
There must be something.
He strained to say through held-back sobs.
Tell me there's a way to save her.
With a look of hesitation, the healer replied, "There is one way, sire, but I don't believe it's possible. It requires—"
What do you mean it's not possible? I will do anything. I will even go out and find what you need myself if I have to. Tell me what is required, and I will seek it out.
She paused for a moment, and then said, "Most of the materials are easy to obtain. The problem is the remedy also requires a dragon's stomach to store the ingredients. There's nothing else that'll work in place of it. I'm sorry." The king trembled, having difficulty keeping himself together in front of his guards. Dragons were believed to be extinct in this continent, and there had been no indication otherwise in the past 2 centuries. It was hopeless, and the corridor fell silent over the realization that their kingdom would lose their beloved queen.
I'll go and find a dragon,
announced one of the guards amidst the silence, a bulky man who looked to be in his 30s. He was the tallest among them, and his face appeared worn from his time in battle. "What?" exclaimed another, a woman with small eyes and a voice to match her large frame. "Ender, our ancestors wiped out the rest of the dragons centuries ago. We'll never be able to find—" Ender, the tall knight, placed a hand on her shoulder as he looked her with determination in his eyes.
We will find one, Clara. I promise. We have overcome impossible obstacles before over these many years. This is no different.
He then turned from his companion to help the king back to his feet.
Don't worry, Your Majesty. Clara and I won't rest until we find a dragon and return with its stomach.
"Oh, we?" questioned Clara. The only thing on the king's mind was the slight hope that his wife would be saved, and he nodded to Ender.
Please, if you believe you can find one, do so. I don't want to lose my wife. Everything will be all right, Your Majesty. Come, Clara, we have important matters to attend to."
Clara stared at Ender, baffled that she was just dragged into a mission that was not only impossible, but she didn't agree to take up the task. Of course, now that the king approved of this, there was no backing out from orders. She reluctantly followed Ender to grab the needed supplies and rode off into the mountains. Clara followed Ender to the entrance of a large cave and stopped. She briefly looked around, taking note of the ash-covered bones and the worn cloth from past adventures that laid beside the walls. However, there was no sign of a dragon to be seen. Her friend walked further into the cave, and though she was about to say something about her findings, she cut herself off when he stopped to turn back to face her.
Clara, I can trust you with anything, right?
He spoke solemnly. She nodded, but wasn't sure why he'd ask. Of course he can trust her with anything. What did that have to do with this? "Yes, you have my word. What exactly—" Ender sighed.
There is something I have never told anyone. I want you to promise me that this will not change what we have started. Can you promise me that?
"I promise." The man closed his eyes, and his body began to morph. where his armor broke apart, and his body expanded as he took the form of a four-legged creature with sharp claws. Spikes and leathery wings sprouted from his back, his body covered in glistening midnight blue scales. Clara took a step back in shock and awe, but couldn't keep her wide stare off of the intense reptilian white eyes that the creature possessed. All this time, she had fought alongside a dragon.
I understand this is sudden, but please, don't let it distract you from what we have to do.
The mighty beast bellowed. It was then that the woman slowly began to realize what Ender was hinting at. What? Wait, you don't really mean I have to... Wait, hold on! No, you can't be serious!
I have been around for many years enjoying the company of humans. Serving the kingdom and spending time with you was a grand adventure I enjoyed and will never forget. But the king is a great man whom I admire, and this shall be my last service to him and this kingdom. Please, take my stomach.
Oh, he was really serious, she thought. It was all so much to take in already. Ender was actually a dragon, but he also wanted her to kill him? He was the one who saved her when she got ambushed by the orcs. She even returned the favor when an enemy clan invaded the bordering towns. How can she simply kill him like that after all of the years that they had been together? It would be like killing herself. Clara shook her head before falling to her knees, trying to be strong yet failing to hold back the tears flowing down her cheeks. She couldn't even look at Ender at a time like this. There has to be something. There has to be another way. Ender, I can't do this. We've been through too much, she cried, clutching her head with both hands out of internal frustration. There were too many emotions going on at once for Clara to handle. The dragon noticed her pain and leaned his head closer to nuzzle his good friend.
If you won't do it for the country, do it for the king. Do it for the man who only wishes for his wife to be well again.
Whether or not that was enough for Clara was uncertain, but all she could do for the time being was allow the tears to fall from her face onto Ender's snout, and then she hugged his face.
Everything will be all right. I promise.
He cooed.
Everything will be all right. The ruckus of the Castletown festivities echoed throughout the land, but were only a murmur to Clara's ears. She sat outside the palace walls in front of a grave, marked by a single crucifix overlooking the river. Memories of her time spent with Ender drifted in her mind like the leaves floating on the water's surface as she clutched onto the sword he had always carried. Deep in thought, she almost didn't notice the approach of another from behind.
I'm sorry for your loss, Clara,
chimed a soft voice of a middle-aged woman, dressed in fine fabrics and intricate embroidery, looking down at the other with a saddened gaze.
Thank you, Your Majesty,
Clara muttered, her eyes focused on his carved name set below the stone crucifix.
He was a great man, and it still pains me to hear that a dragon was what led to his demise. Yet you overcame it and completed the task despite the loss. I'm sure he's very proud of you for all you've done for him in the kingdom. Everything will be all right.
Those were the last words the knight heard her close companion use before she took the sword and cut him open. She froze for a second upon the realization, and then she broke down into a fit of tears while hugging the sword close to her. The queen knelt beside her and attempted to comfort her, but she would never know the pain and sacrifice her loyal knight went through in the sake of her life. Nobody would ever know of the secret burden Clara carried for the rest of her days serving this kingdom.
Everything will be alright. Will it? Really? Thank you for listening to Kingdom's Cure by TespianMage. If you enjoyed this creation, tap the like button. To further support TespianMage and MQE, please subscribe and click the bell for further notifications. MQE stands for Muses, Quills, and Editors, a safe and supportive creative community. For more information, please check out our Discord link and our website, both noted in the info box below. Thank you again, and have a marvelous day.